Okay. Emily? Your name? Huh? Haley? Molly, not Holly. Okay, Lacey. I'm sure at about 6, 7 months, maybe. Do not have high expectations that this old man will get it. Chris, thank you for bringing your choir back to us today. We missed you. We missed you a lot. Dale isn't with us today. He has overdone it again. He has some serious pain issues and things that he has to live with. I miss him, miss his smiling face. Matt has been sick. Is he still sick today, Gail? Do you know?
No, he wanted to spend the time with his kids because he didn't get them till
That's right.
yesterday.
Right.
He didn't want to take them back to work.
Anyway, I miss them. Eva and Carol are still fighting whatever they've got in their lungs. And the old man, he's on steroids and antibiotics and everything too, whatever's going around. It's that time of the year where things start changing really, really rapidly. I'm going to stay one more time with us thinking through these two parables. I would almost call them two parables, but two incontrovertible realities. Two realities that if we can wrap ourselves around it, that explains so much to us in our world. They are the two parables, one of which is the parable of the sower and the soil, and the parable of the weeds. Now, maybe you just think these are just cute little Bible stories, cute little examples that they're interesting and they make us think a little bit. I happen to believe with all of my heart, the more that I study and the more that I try to hear what Christ was saying, I believe that they were spoken with the intent to literally capture our entire thinking about what is wrong with me if I hear teaching and nothing happens. I don't grow. I don't change. I hear it. And the other one of which is this thing in the world. There are two realities in there that I believe we must understand. We keep asking silly questions. Why are the politicians doing what they do? Why does this bad person do what they do? Why do they do that? And there's a reality in these parables here that why don't they understand? Why, when you teach and you teach and you teach and you teach, nothing happens? And we have a tendency to say, well, it's the teacher's fault. That'd be about like blaming God for all the things that are happening on planet Earth because he didn't make himself clear. He wasn't a good enough father to tell us clearly what we needed to know. And you know that that's hogwash. But that's how we operate on the human plane. We forget that we are flesh and spirit. We live in a realm with which there has been a battle going on from the beginning of our time to this day. We have tried to change religion or God's teaching into religions, and I assure you, Jesus Christ never came to the earth to make the one true religion. He did not. Today, people are saying, well, we've got to make Jesus relevant to the times. Well, I will assure you that Jesus was the hugest failure in the world, if that was his intent. When he came down in the middle of the Roman Empire to the Jewish people, trying to be relevant to the world and the conditions. He wasn't. He came with one singular reason: to bring a message from God our Father, to call us home, to call our hearts to see him, in spite of the world we live in spite of the noise we hear, in spite of the things we see on television, in spite of all the temptations, all the allurements with which we use as excuses for not giving our heart to the Lord. That's a reality. That's a hard one. Because in these two parables, two things happen, and I titled this today called Our Heart Hears, and Then We Choose. We will be children of God or children of Satan. I was not raised with that view. I was raised religiously to where I saw humanity, some good, some bad. And if they were the really, really good humanity, they were over here on the right. They were very religious. Or if they were really, really bad, they were way over here and they were crazy, not-so people. And what a shock it was for me to find out that is only man's view. It is not God's view of humanity. It isn't. But in our human mind, as we try to rationalize why we do what we do, or why we don't do what we do, why we are holding back or vacillating, we've got all kinds of crazy things that we'll try to explain. But the older I get, the more black and white I find God speaking to me. The more black and white it is. And that's a tough reality. What's worse is that the more I learn, the more I think I can judge you. The more that I can point out your faults. Don't look at mine. I can point out yours. That's what religion does. Religion makes us these little mini fruit inspectors. We become the mini, maybe maxi rationalization group, where we rationalize why. And yet, in the midst of it, Jesus says this. So let's review, and I'll look at his explanation about the soil. Mark 4:13. And we know what happened. We got this guy in the story out there throwing seed. Some of it falling on the path, some of it falling on rocky places, some of it falling in the midst of thorns, and some actually hitting some good soil. Mark 4:13, and he said to them, do you not understand this parable? How are you going to understand all parables? Verse 14, the sower, in simple words, sows the word. And when the word is sown along the path, where the word is sown, when they hear, Satan immediately comes and takes away the word that is sown in them. So the first level of soil has to do with a relationship or hardness in my heart, which is actually more satanic, if not completely satanic. Have you ever tried to share God's word with someone who's completely given over to evil? A term that we had growing up was called spitting in the wind. It hits you in the face. Nothing happens. Sometimes as a parent, that could be our own child. And we don't like that. We react to that. And what's worse is that as Christians, sometimes I start rationalizing as to why this might be happening. But I'm not willing to acknowledge what Jesus just said. What's worse, if I do see what Jesus said, then I turn into this screaming banshee saying, you're of Satan. You're evil. Of all the dumb, stupid, nonsensical things to do. But sometimes in our religious fervor, we do that, don't we? We think somehow or another, because we can see what's going on, that now we are justified in doing something that's unjustified. Satan just takes it away. Nothing happens. Verse 16, and these are the ones sown on rocky ground. Now listen to the description. These are the ones who, when they hear the word, they immediately receive it with joy. But they have no root. Oh, they'll endure for a while. Then when, listen to the causes, the tribulation or persecution arises on account of the word, immediately they fall. As a Bible teacher, I will tell you this is the most painful example here. You're trying to pour your heart out to someone, you're sharing scripture with them, and all of a sudden they're excited. Oh boy, I really needed to hear that. Wow, this is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you for helping me. And it's over. And you say, what's happened? I thought you told me the truth of the matter is what we don't like looking at is what we're really seeing. We want feedback and accolades, yes or no. We want to feel like, well, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing. And so any glimmer of excitement, we would immediately turn around and say, oh, I don't know what happened to them. They were so excited. They were so excited. What's going on? Something else must have happened other than we just saw their heart, yes or no. We don't like that. It's not easy. It's painful. But again, what do I do with it? In the religious community, we attack it, don't we? Others, verse 18, are sown among the thorns. They are those who hear the word, but the cares of the world, the deceitfulness of riches, and the desire for other things enter in, chokes the word, and the word is unfruitful in them. One old elder was talking about this, and he says, you want a description of the modern church? When we look around and say, why aren't we looking more like Christ? Why aren't we being more like our original forefathers in the first century of meeting people's needs and doing things like that? Why aren't we? Why don't we look more like Jesus? I will tell you that I'm pretty well convinced, and I mean no offense, that money in retirement is one of the biggest evils that's ever been brought into the landscape of mankind. Retirement is a fairly recent thing, isn't it? What, 70 years old? We normally worked until we couldn't. I got a friend of mine, 54 years old. And he's going to retire with more money than he made when he was working. He's already planning out his entire retirement for the next 40 years of what he's going to do. And not one word of what he could do with that time and that riches for God. Not a word. Oh, Bob, you shouldn't judge them. You shouldn't do that. I'm not judging him. The reality of it is, that is just reality. And more power to him. The cares of the world, the deceitfulness of riches, and the desire for other things enter in, and it's just an unfruitful life. The old elder suggested that you can look really religious, and you will think that if you can put more in the contribution plate, you have done your job. I don't know completely all the points that he thought he was making, but he wanted us to think about that. And he asked the question, why don't we look more like Jesus? Why aren't we doing more things like Jesus? We're the church. And in some circles, we're the one true church. We're the only one church. But do I look like Jesus? Does my marriage and my relationship with my husband or wife, am I trying to live as though Jesus was guiding me? Heavy words. But then there's the transformed crop, verse 20. But those that were sown on the good soil are the ones who hear the word and accept it. There is a huge difference between hearing words today. You can answer the question right now. Am I accepting what I'm hearing? Is it going anywhere beyond just here? Am I immediately moved